This week, stuckness is on my mind, right? That feeling of either at its most extreme, the past invading the present, and that fear of the past being so overwhelming we can't move forward in the present. And in a case like that, my first go-to is always that work of EMDR to unstick the past. But of course, there's different colors for this, and whether we're directly dealing with a trauma that's getting in the way or not, that stuckness is a really powerful force. And one way I've been encountering it this week is the fear of change, right? If we're afraid that the thing we'll do to change from this painful status quo will be even more painful, well, then we'll stay in this status quo. We'll get very creative to stay in this status quo. We'll subconsciously create a really painful future scenario to keep us stuck. And the way of reframing this to get some people unstuck this week for me struck me as helpful, not just for them, but for a broader audience. And that is, I've seen this fear of, well, if I make this change, then this and this and this and this and this, and here's the final product, this fantasy of a really dangerous and scary final product. And that's sort of like this 5-year outlay of worst case scenarios stacked on top of each other. And to draw back from that, we want to slow down and say, okay, that's a fantasy. And yeah, I don't know that this will turn out well, but also I'll be conscious while this process is going. There's no guaranteed slippery slope to hell. And so we can slow down and say, well, this isn't a final decision for the rest of my life that locks me in. This is an experiment. This is an experiment I can run. And we can take this even with major life changes, right? Even if we make the major life changes of, say, changing careers, going back to school, right? Huge change. Very easy to see this as locking me in. Well, I'm on this road, I'm taking on this student debt. Well, in most cases, we can actually do that one class at a time. We can pay for one class at a time. We can choose whether or not to sign up for the next semester. And so to take this short-term view of what's an experiment I can run in the near term, to get some data to decide after that, as opposed to this fear of what terrible choice will I make that will lock me in. That's sort of the change, the reframe that I'm working with for getting unstuck.